Hello and welcome to another of our What's Good Now videos, in which I talk you through a selection of the produce that's available at any given time. And this being the first week in December, there's slightly less available in terms of fresh produce. But the winter hasn't set in too harshly yet. So we still have a few things such as chickweed available, which are soft herbs, and are managing to hold their own since we haven't had the more serious frost yet. Through the winter we do get a lot more of the cabbage family plants. They have mustard oils in them that preserve them. I think I mentioned that before. And the black mustard is particularly good at the moment. Really strong wasabi and mustard flavours in that. Very good with beef, beetroot, salmon, anything you'd conventionally use mustard or wasabi flavours for. And likewise the sea radish, still doing very well. This generally survives right through the winter. Sea radish it's just a way of experiencing the radish flavour in a slightly unusual way. I tend to use the stalks and just chop those. They're kind of sweet and mustardy. We've got a new seaweed on offer, which is Atlantic wakame. This is dried and we're getting it down from the Highlands of Scotland. This is a very excellent seaweed for making a broth or a stock. A lot of people said it tastes a bit like chicken stock when you make a broth with this one. Similarly, the toothed rack, which is a very widespread seaweed, but very much underutilized in my opinion, and that yields a flavour which several chefs have said is very like veal stock. So it's amazing you're getting these really meaty flavours, worth bearing in mind for your up and coming veganuary menus, if that's something you're going to get involved in. So both chicken and veal stock, you know, really good umami flavour basis for plant-based recipes. Crab apples are still quite abundant and they're still holding up. And they'll stay on the trees for a while yet, I should think. Excited to talk about acorns. Acorns are used as a have been used as a carbohydrate and protein staple in many parts of the world where there's a lot of oak trees. There's a super abundant harvest from them. These days we tend to more think of them as pig food. But you can roast these, and the kind of tannic and rather bitter flavour that you get when you eat a raw acorn or an unprocessed acorn, it kind of disappears when you roast them, and you end up with these amazing toasty caramelly flavour notes. David Everett Mathias produced a recipe based on that for an acorn panna cotta, which we've replicated many times. I think there's a lot of scope for using that flavour both in savoury dishes and desserts, as David did. So yeah, recommend you try experimenting with those. Just briefly roasted and then ground down, and either as a flavouring or you can use the pieces to go through a dish. Also, another dry goods thing that we have is tansy. This is an old English spice, or herb if you use the leaves, but we've got the dried flowers here. Now, I've been doing some work with that using English spices and various different applications, just to replace the many exotic spices, because it's amazing how many aromatics we do have in the British landscape, and tansy is one with a fair amount of heritage in Old English cooking, and I think deserves a lot more exploration. So we've got quite a big stock of just the flower buttons, as you can see there. We have in stock some vinegars, also preserved from the summer. So we've got meadowsweet and elderflower vinegar. Elderflower vinegar makes an amazing mayonnaise, a lovely salad dressing. You can put a bit through gravy for chicken. I found that amazing. And also I found elderflower pairs very nicely with pork. I'm sure many of you have other things that you do with elderflower, but it's a very convenient medium for the flavour in the vinegar there. Meadowsweet is a beautiful pairing with apples, and again you can use the vinegar in all sorts of ways just to get the flavour into a dish. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week's What's Good Now. I don't want to try and cover too much. So yeah, I'll talk to you again next week.